Hello and welcome to ENI UK and Europe edition. I'm Giancarlo Matera, reporting from London. We'll be bringing you news reports from the United Kingdom and Europe. And we have live reporters on standby, ready to give their reports. In our lineup today, the UK starts mass COVID-19 vaccination program. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson says a good deal Brexit is still possible with the European Union. European Union Summit to tackle climate change, tensions with Turkey, and post-coronavirus recovery plan. And our first live correspondent joining us today will be Ashley Espiritu. Nice to see you again, Ashley. What will you be reporting for us today?
Thank you for having me, Giancarlo. Today I will be reporting on the British Fashion Council's annual award show. With the ongoing pandemic, the BFC recognised all the industry has done to help throughout this difficult year. Back to you, Giancarlo.
Thank you, Ashley. We look forward to your report later in the program. Also joining us from the United Kingdom is Arabelle Celestino. Hello, Arabelle. What report do you have for us this week?
Well, for today, Giancarlo, I will be reporting about a virtual youth meeting Greek formal organized by the International Sisters here in Europe. Back to you.
That sounds interesting. We can't wait to hear more about it, Arabelle. And from our EBC Bureau in Switzerland, we welcome back Mian Glauser. Thank you for joining us again. What has been going on there in mainland Europe?
Hi, Giancarlo. So for here in Switzerland Bureau, we'll be reporting about INC members who will hold a crepe making and decorating activity in the countries of Belgium, France, Monaco, and Switzerland.
Thank you. That sounds like fun. We'll have more details later in the program. Our other reports today from Europe, including from EBC Greece, on a drawing and Bible story activity for the children from Cyprus, Turkey, Israel, and Greece. This report will be brought to us by Helen Joy Benjamin. And from our EBC Bureau in Germany, Irene Juliet Arzadon reports on an easy and delicious Matcha Tiramisu dessert recipe. And we end today's program, as always, by taking a look at our view from a window. This week, we're at the Elbphilharmonie Concert Hall in Hamburg, Germany. A 90-year-old UK grandmother is the first to receive the Pfizer COVID vaccine. As the UK becomes the first country to roll out the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine, a 19-year-old Margaret Keenan becomes the first person to receive a dose, receiving the vaccination at a hospital in Coventry, United Kingdom. Britain on Tuesday held the turning point in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic as it begins the biggest vaccination program in the country's history, with a new COVID-19 jab. The first person in line on what has been dubbed V-Day, the over 80s, the care home workers, and at-risk frontline health and social care staff will roll up their sleeves for an initial dose from early morning. They will then require a second jab in 21 days' time. Last week, Britain became the first country to approve the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine, raising hopes of a breakthrough in the pandemic, which has killed more than 1.5 million people worldwide. Britain has been one of the worst affected countries in the world, with more than 61,000 deaths in the outbreak from 1.6 million cases. Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who spent days himself in intensive care with COVID-19 earlier this year, called it a huge step forward in the UK's fight against coronavirus. The UK Health Secretary Matt Hancock, who has offered to have the jab vaccination on live television to help public fears, said the rollout was a key moment that would protect the most vulnerable. The head of the state-run National Health Service, or NHS, in England, Simon Stevens, said it was a decisive turning point against the greatest health challenge since the NHS was founded in 1948. Regulatory approval for the vaccine was given last Wednesday, sparking a race against time to prepare scores of vaccination centres across the country. The UK has ordered 40 million doses of the jab, enough to vaccinate 20 million people, with 800,000 in the first batch, and up to 4 million doses are expected by the end of December. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson on Wednesday said a post-Brexit trade deal was still possible as he prepared to head to Brussels again to meet the European Commission. A good deal is still there to be done, and I look forward to discussing it with the Commissioner tonight, he told Parliament. But Johnson undermined hopes of a breakthrough by again taking aim at Europe's effort to ensure Britain still abides by competition rules after January 1. The so-called level playing field has been a key stumbling block in the talks, as has the extent of EU's access to Britain's fishing waters. Johnson said Brussels' proposal on fishing would mean Britain would be the only country in the world not to have sovereign control over its own fishing waters. These are not terms that any Prime Minister of this country should accept, he told lawmakers in his weekly question and answer section. Britain formally left the EU on January 31, nearly 4 years after a referendum on membership that divided the country and paralyzed politics. The end of a transition period designed to allow both sides to thrash out terms of their new relationship is approaching on December 31, making agreement on a deal more urgent. Whatever happens, Britain will leave the European Customs Union and single market. Johnson said deal or no deal, the country will prosper mightily. By retaking control of UK money, borders and laws, we will seize all of the opportunity that Brexit brings, he said. But Johnson is under strong pressure from businesses which want greater clarity on the new rules that will apply from January 1. EU leaders meet up in Brussels on Thursday with many topics that were on the agenda, including the post-Brexit deal. Climate change, the 27 members seek to agree on reducing European emissions by 55% in 2030 from the 1990 levels, and on carbon neutrality by 2050. Some countries, like Poland, had expressed disagreement with the path that needs to be taken to meet these targets. Member states also had to discuss about Turkey's standoff over energy resources with Greece and Cyprus. Turkey has been sending a gas exploration vessel into Greek waters to challenge maritime territory in the region. Germany, Italy, Poland have expressed opposition to imposing broad sanctions being demanded by France, Greece, and Cyprus. Meanwhile, the pandemic continues to be a major issue of concern for the region, and EU leaders wish to salvage the EU's €1.8 trillion budget and coronavirus recovery package, which was blocked by Hungary and Poland over the provisions linking it to the respect of rule of law. Other topics on the table were extremism and reinforcing security at the external frontiers of the Schengen Free Movement Zone. It's time for a break now, but please stay tuned for more ENI UK and Europe edition.
Factual.
We have to defeat the virus everywhere.
Timely information. Balanced, not only in the country, but also abroad.
I'm certain of one thing.
Interviews that people need to know. Watch Agila Pilipinas, a 1-hour newscast of reports coming from regional hubs in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Know the important updates in Asia in ASEAN in Focus. Track the latest stories in the provinces in Agila Probinsya. Tune into Mata ng Agila, the evening primetime news program of Net25. Balanced and objective, Mata ng Agila covers national and international issues, tackles news on business, health, science and technology, entertainment, sports and human interest features, and current events. And Eagle News International delivers the latest global reports, impartial, accessible, and up-to-date. It brings to fore EBC's rich international scope and access to valuable information streams.
Well, thank you to Explain, our help outdoor.
Catch these programs on Net25. You can also watch our news programs through eaglenews.ph and Eagle News Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Welcome back to more ENI UK and Europe edition. Now for some more interesting stories from around the United Kingdom this week. We welcome now our first of our live correspondents reporting on the UK Fashion Awards. It's Ashley Spirit. Please tell us more, Ashley.
Hello, Giancarlo, thank you. In a break from tradition to mark a tumultuous year, the British Fashion Council's annual awards in the recent weeks honored 20 individuals and brands, including Chanel and Burberry, who led change in the industry. The honorees, revealed in a video posted online, were recognized for their contribution to one of 4 categories: community, creativity, environment, and people, with many honored for their contribution during the coronavirus pandemic. They included French fashion house Chanel, which moved manufacturing to support the production of PPE, and British giant Burberry, who joined the coronavirus fight by repurposing its trench coat factory to make non-surgical gowns. More than 800 members of the international fashion industry were asked to nominate who should receive an accolade, with the list being wilted down to the final 20. Indian actress Priyanka Chopra Jonas was among those presenting the awards, as was Formula One great Lewis Hamilton. Other honorees included London-based designer Michael Hapern, whose tribute at London Fashion Week to frontline health workers and contribution to the production of PPE was called Inspiring and Extraordinary. The people category recognized those who encourage equal, diverse, empowered workforces from head office to supply chain and shop floor. They included New York-based designer Aurora James, who was honored for her campaign calling on retailers to commit to dedicating 15% of their shelf space to Black-owned brands, while others received accolades of their work with Black Lives Matter. British big hitter Stella McCartney was honored in the environmental category for having raised the bar for the industry as a whole, with creativity and sustainability shaping the brand's DNA. Fellow British designer Jonathan Anderson, founder of the JW Anderson label, picked up an award in the creativity category for those who have defined the shape of global fashion. This year, Jonathan Anderson redefined the possibilities of what a show could be with COVID-19 restrictions by pioneering show-in-a-box and show-on-the-wall concepts for both JW Anderson and Lowe, with the said BFC. The collections were a defiant celebration of fashion and craft. The Fashion Awards is an annual fundraiser for the BFC Foundation. Back to you, Giancarlo.
Thank you, Ashley. And as the fashion industry is reflecting on this year, is there any more plans to, or the more help moving forward in the year 2021?
Well, Giancarlo, there is no current news on how the fashion industry will continue to progress coming into 2021. However, from what you can see in the Fashion Industry Awards, which can be rewatched on their website or YouTube, their motivation to help and care for what's going on around them shows that they really love what they do and wanted to do the absolute most to help the world change. Their active response to the coronavirus pandemic is inspiring, changing their trenchcoat factory to make non-surgical gowns for hospitals and care homes, not only for the pandemic, but in humanitarian events such as Black Lives Matter movement, giving a percentage of their shelf space to Black-owned brands. The fashion industry really has done so much. So however 2021 chooses to progress, you can be certain to see the fashion industry doing their part to help and make a change. Back to you, Giancarlo.
Thank you so much, Ashley, for the fashion report for us this week. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me, Giancarlo. I'm Ashley Spiritu, EBC London correspondent, and we live in interesting times.
Our next live reporter is also from here in the United Kingdom. We're pleased to welcome Arabelle Celestino. Hi, Arabelle. You mentioned earlier you have a report about an activity that took place across Europe recently.
Hi, Giancarlo, and yes, in these times when loneliness and isolation have become even more common, the youth members of the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ here in Europe organized a way to connect with people who share similar values in a secure environment through a virtual meet and greet formal. It was also a good excuse to dress up and dine together with no social distancing to worry about. The program included friendly competitions and musical presentations. The participants were able to engage in fun and interactive games such as online versions of Guess Who and Bring Me. It was also a good chance to conduct virtual awards for categories like the most inspiring youth member in each part of Europe. The warmth of joy and friendliness can be felt among the youth who took part. Let's see the reactions of the participants.
A Kadiwa meet and greet activity is an activity for the members in the Kadiwa organization of the Church of Christ, the members 18 and above and not yet married. And for us in the districts of Northern Europe, Western Europe, Central Europe, and United Kingdom, we were able to gather together Kadiwa members in these 4 districts to meet one another, greet one another, make new friends, and reconnect with old friends.
So at this event, the Kadiwas had 2 options. They could either join a speed friendship room, where they would have the opportunity of having one-on-one with a Kadiwa, or they could join a room where they would play various online games. And after those activities, we also had musical performances, and afterwards we had awards.
Meet and greet was indeed very different because we had some performances, everyone was all dressed up, and we even had some award givings.
For me, I think the most memorable part about this Kadiwa meet and greet was definitely the games. It was really nice to see how everyone participated and enjoyed the games. You could really see through the screens how everyone was, laughing and smiling, and you can really tell that they were having a great time. And it was just really nice to be able to bond with each other, meet new brethren, and to also share this momentous occasion with each other, even though it's just online.
Donc, selon moi, c'est important d'avoir des amis qui partagent la même foi parce que d'une part, ça nous permet d'éviter les tentations de ce monde, et d'une autre part, généralement, les frères et sœurs dans la foi sont des gens qui sont des inspirations et nous permettent de toujours devenir de meilleurs chrétiens.
So Giancarlo, going by their reactions, we can see that they really enjoyed themselves and they were able to benefit from this event. We can tell how important social interaction is in improving our mental health and well-being. As we know, the social restrictions we are experiencing can bring many challenges to many people these days. However, the youth members of the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ consider it even more important to find ways to build and maintain a strong connection with one another, even by conducting online activities, as doing so brings about stronger friendship, shared happiness, increased faith, and a more positive outlook in life. Back to you, Giancarlo.
Thank you, Arabelle. From what you observed, what do you think would be the highlight of the event?
Well, Giancarlo, I believe that the highlight of this event was their unity. I found it astonishing how they were all able to interact happily and actively with one another, even if most of them just met during the event. And I was able to feel a strong sense of togetherness and involvement throughout the program. Over to you.
Why do you think that the Church of Christ feels that it is important for them to conduct events such as this?
Well, meeting new people is always exciting, particularly when it comes to your peers, as you can learn about the different qualities and the personality they have. In these unprecedented times, I think it's even more important to create a rapport and stay connected with other people. And I believe this will certainly encourage similar events in the future, and hopefully next time it will be in person. Over to you, Giancarlo.
Thank you so much once again for bringing us that story, Arabelle.
Reporting from London, United Kingdom, I'm Arabelle Celestino. We live in interesting times.
It's time for another break now, but please come back for more ENI UK and Europe Edition.
Hey there, Arnie Aquino here at Hatley Castle, one of the filming locations for the X-Men series. Don't forget to tune in to Digital Nest only on Net25.
Welcome back to ENI UK and Europe Edition. Now for some interesting stories from across Europe this week. Joining us today from Geneva, Switzerland is Mien Glauser with more details on a fun cooking lesson. Thank you, Mien.
Hi, Giancarlo. So, cooking can be perceived by some as a simple chore and only a source of sustenance. But for others, it can also actually bring a lot of benefits, such as achieving personal satisfaction, providing sensory pleasure, and especially a way to express oneself and be creative. That's exactly why, despite the pandemic, members of the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ in the countries of Belgium, France, Monaco, and Switzerland very much enjoyed an activity where they got to share their love for cooking by sharing tips on how to cook and decorate crepes. Crepe is a thinner version of a pancake. It's a very, very popular dessert or snack in many European countries. During the activity, the participants had to make crepes by following a recipe taught live. Through the interaction between the lead cook and the other participants through video conferencing and family members at home, there was a lot of laughter and fun all throughout. But that's not it. The activity was even more made exciting because after making the crepes, the participant had a few minutes to also show their talent in decorating them with their personal ingredients and creative touch as a friendly competition. Let's take a look at some of the event's highlights.
We had a lot of fun during this activity. It was educational because we got to learn how to cook crepe, but also entertaining because we got to be a bit creative and also watch the brethren work on their own creative skills. By attending and participating in church activities, we as parents get to teach our children the value of our membership inside the Church of Christ. Our faith and unity get strengthened as a family, but also as brothers and sisters in the faith. I'm just really happy to see that the youth in our district are genuinely happy when they participate and even organize these activities. That says a lot about the continued success of the Church of Christ in this part of the world and around the world.
At the end of the activity, all the crepes were exposed to judges who determined the 3 best-looking crepes. Not only did the participants learn a new dish together in a fun way, they also showed that distance and the pandemic are not obstacles to their unity and faith. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you so much. How did the attendees have to prepare to join this virtual cooking lesson?
Well, Giancarlo, all of them were informed beforehand to prepare the ingredients needed with the exact quantity required so they can easily follow the one leading them. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you so much. That sure looked like an entertaining family activity. And thank you for reporting for us again, and especially thank you to EBC Switzerland.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm Anne Glauser reporting from the Geneva, Switzerland Bureau, and we live in interesting times.
Okay, now, children in Cyprus, Greece, Israel, and Turkey attend a fun educational activity organized by the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ. We have Helen Joy Benjamin giving us the details. Let's watch her report.
Amidst these trying times, the youth members of the Church of Christ in the countries Greece, Cyprus, Israel, and Turkey continue to be an inspiration by means of their active participation in the INC Kids programs, Time to Draw, and Bible Story activity. Although restrictions are still being implemented in various countries due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the young members, together with their parents, managed to take part in this activity through video conferencing. They were able to showcase their skills in drawing and coloring. This was a great opportunity for them to learn how to spend their time in a productive way while at home and to hear some stories from the Bible. According to some of the parents who also participated, this activity was a great way to help show their children the value of faith, especially during these times. And what a fun way as well to strengthen their bond as a family. Reporting for Eagle News International from Greece, I am Helen Joy Benjamin. We live in interesting times.
Thank you for that report, EBC Greece. It's now time to discover a different way to prepare tiramisu. We have a report from Irene Juliette Arzadon on her take on this delicious dessert. Let's watch her report.
What happens if Italy meets Japan? I mean, if an Italian dessert called tiramisu meets Japanese green tea. That sounds good, right? I will show you now how to make a delicious matcha tiramisu in just a few steps.
We need the following ingredients for 5 to 6 portions. 1 pack of vanilla sugar, 200 grams mascarpone, 200 grams whipped cream, 1 tablespoon matcha, 100 grams ladyfingers, and water. Small glasses or a baking dish, optional fruits, strawberries, or grated coconut if you want. First, we dissolve the matcha powder in cold water and put it aside. For our next step, we take another bowl. In this bowl, we mix our whipped cream, vanilla sugar, and mascarpone together. Next, we whisk our ingredients with the help of a hand mixer to a cream. Now we take our ladyfingers and dip them shortly in the cold tea. Then put them inside the glasses or a baking dish. Pay attention that you do not drench the ladyfingers in the tea, otherwise they will get too watery. On top of your biscuits, put on a layer of cream and repeat the layer scheme we have so far. done. Put your glasses in the fridge for around 2 hours. You eat with your eyes first. For that reason, we decorate our dessert for our final step. And it is up to you now whether you like to use fruits, grated coconut, or simply a little bit matcha powder.
Ta-da! Let's try it! Next time, you can surprise your family or friends with this simple and delicious dessert. Wish you a lot of fun while you try it for yourselves. Stay healthy. I am Irene Jared Arsadon for EBC Bureau Dortmund, Germany. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Irene, for that tasty recipe. We end today's news program with our view from our window. And today we are going to Hamburg in Germany for a look at the Elbphilharmonie. The so-called Elfi, which was built in November 2016, is a concert hall in Hamburg. It was created to form a new landmark for the city and a cultural monument for all. The 110-meter high building is located in the Hafen city district of the right bank of the North Elbe River, and it was built on top of an old warehouse. The Elbphilharmonie Concert Hall is characterized by its modern structure with a glass facade. You can not only attend concerts here, but you can also enjoy the breathtaking view over Hamburg from the viewing plaza, or choose to go to the Elbphilharmonie for your next culinary visit. We thank Eva Marie Krause for this lovely view. And that's it for our program this week. We hope you stay safe and keep positive as we will bring you more news stories next week from around the United Kingdom and Europe. I'm Giancarlo Matera, and we live in interesting times.